Hey guys, Matt Allen, Tim Little, going out fishing, middle of summer, a ramp's crowded, here we sit waiting our turn. Thought we'd take a minute and talk to you guys about basically shallow water fishing, how to target bass that are up in shallow water, since that's what's going on right now. You know, there's a lot of different approaches to shallow water fish, but right now, like I said, middle of summer, water's pretty warm, fish are pretty aggressive, at least during the low light parts of the day. Let's talk about some baits.
Yeah, low light's definitely key. You know, first light in the morning, evening time, that's typically when it's most comfortable for you out there on the water, and it's typically when you get your best bites.
Yeah. First thing, top water. You know, that first light in the morning. Now it depends on where you fish, right? If you're in a body of water that doesn't have a bunch of good sized fish, you're probably not throwing a frog first thing in the morning. You're probably throwing something like a little popper. But a popper, a frog, the whopper plopper, all just dynamite, early morning, low light, shallow water baits where you can cover a lot of water quickly. You can get those active, aggressive fish that are up, moving around. Tired of having this truck running while we're just sitting here. You can get those fish that are really up and active, and they're not going to be there very long. Once that starts to fade, spinnerbait, chatterbait, swim jig, those baits where you can still cover a ton of water, still get those aggressive fish, but the fish that aren't necessarily willing to come to the top anymore. That's as you're going from low light into that midday, warmer, sun's coming out, that transition time, you start catching those reaction fish up shallow. Then as you go midday, you know, you start turning like towards the finesse and that sort of thing, which is Tim's specialty anyway.
I wouldn't say it's a specialty. I love throwing topwater ploppers, and even a square bill, you know, shallow. I like throwing a square bill through the grass is a great bait. But talking about finesse, man, it's really hard to beat the Yamamoto Senko. How I fish that, I fish it actually really fast. I put the trolling motor on, you know, 40 or 50, and I just cruise, and I'm just looking for little tule points, little points where the fish can get back in the cover, but you can actually target. And you're just flipping those, and you're pretty much just moving down the bank and covering water. I'm not sitting there and soaking it, and I'm just moving around for active fish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of those shallow water fish. You can cover tons of water because the fish that are, you know, you're not waiting 30 seconds for your bait to sink, and then you're waiting for a good presentation. You're working that bait. No, they're up shallow. Fire it in, they're there or they're not. You're moving on.
Yeah, they usually eat it right, you know, first few seconds of the flip that you're going to know they're there or not. You don't need to flip it and let it sit there on the bottom, shake it a few times. Just flip it in there, let it fall, reel it up, move on to the next. And just pay attention to the shoreline, the little grass, you know, pockets, and what the grass shade areas, you know, the fish kind of pull back into that,
Totally.
that cover.
That's such a good point. To build on that, man, once that sun is up high, the little tiny shade pockets. If you want to get your pattern on a pattern, shallow water, backside of tules, backside of grass line, little corner of a dock, anywhere that you get a little corner of shade on a sunny bank, that's where your shallow water fish is in the middle of the day. You don't have to fish the whole thing. Pocket to pocket to pocket to pocket, hitting that shallow shaded stuff, you're on fish. That was dead on.
Yeah, so Senko, also a little drop shot, you know, 6-inch worm.
Got him.
Get it here.
That was my plan, to go out and throw that.
Yeah, so what's this? This is the Zoom
swamp crawler, dude. Cheap bait, awesome bait.
Awesome. I haven't used these. Apparently Matt has. I've always fished like the robo worms. But yeah, green pumpkin, June bug, morning dawn, some kind of oxblood color, or your typical colors.
That's all you need.
But yeah, just cover the bank and don't get caught up in the soaking it. You know, move around for those active fish, because the more water you cover, the chances of catching a big one increases.
If you take that advice and run with it, and you can catch a lot more fish in the summertime. The biggest problem I see people, or the biggest mistake I see people making, is just sitting. You know, they get on a spot and they sit there and they wait for fish. Why would you do that in the summertime? The water's warm, fish are moving around. Run until you find the aggressive ones, and you're way better off. The line's moving. Wrap us up. We're gonna keep going.
All right, guys, we're gonna go launch, but hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any questions or comments, please comment below. If you guys have any video recommendations, put them in the comments, guys. Thanks, talk to you soon.
Have a great day. First thing is going to be the square bill crankbait. The square bill is a compact bait, fits that general bluegill profile where it's a short, stumpy bait, pretty round. More importantly, it moves very quickly, very erratic, something that bluegill do different. This may be a better day than I think. This lake is starting to look pretty stacked. So we're going to run down lake. I don't know how well you guys can see, but basically I've got a big point over on this side and an even larger point there on the left, and then the dam down there in the background. And I think I'm gonna focus around those first couple of big points, although I gotta admit this stuff is looking pretty darn good. But we're gonna start out down there. We're gonna focus on some of that stuff and see if we can find some fish on the little bit of structure that is in